Hey, hello guys. As you can see today, we'll be doing a little bit of algebra, right? So as you can see, the first topic that I'm gonna start with is linear equations, right? Linear equations, and so we're gonna look at what is a linear equation, and also we're gonna do a little bit of example. So we'll be solving some linear equations, right? Now, before we move on, I am Gabin Shimirimana, and I would want to welcome you to this new channel. And I will be doing a lot of various topics in mathematics, science, which will cover biology, chemistry, and physics as well. And also, we'll be giving some tips and advice in terms of preparing yourself for your education or your studies, right? Now, let's move on. Please, this is a new channel. Subscribe if you can, and hopefully, I'll be teaching you some useful stuff that will help you in your daily life and also in your further education. Thank you so much, guys. Now, let's start with an example. But then, before I start with an example, let me give you a simple definition of a linear algebra. What is a linear algebra? Alright, so linear algebra, and the topic, as you can see, it's algebra. However, we have linear equation. What is a linear equation? A linear equation, it's let me break down into two parts. We have two words in the linear equation. We have linear and we have equation. Linear, what is a linear? Linear is a word, it's an adjective coming from a line. In English, there is a line. However, linear is just an adjective that comes from the word line. However, what's another meaning of side? The other word that we could say for linear is just basically saying a straight line, right? A straight line. That's linear, a straight line, right? And also, what is equation? Equation is when you have two expression on the left and on side, and they are equalized in the middle by the equal sign, right? So you have left and right side. That's the reason why they call linear equations, because it's equation because it means there's two parts that they must be equal, right? So that's the simple definition of what linear algebra. Now, before taking too much time, let's move on to the questions. The first one is this. So you can see the first question that we have got. We have got a fraction, right? I know most of you are having trouble with fractions. It's okay. It's okay. It's never too late to learn them. Hopefully, this video you will see a few tips on how to actually work out or solve any linear equation that involved fractions. And I will be doing separate videos for fractions. So we have got 7 plus 3m over 2 equals negative 2, right? So that's the equation that we're given, and the question is solving for m. In another way of saying, rather than solve the following linear equation, they could say solve for m of what is the value of m, right? So those are type of questions that you could expect in any exam or assignment or homework, right? So let's move on. Now, if we have that, what do we do first? What we do first is this. Now, we try to put everything on common denominator, right? Common denominator is basically saying we are putting everything under the same number. We know 7 is always over 1 because there's nothing on it. Whenever 3m is over 2 and the negative 2 is over 1, however, we are trying to put everything over 2. So we times by 2 on 2 because 2 on 2 is the same as 1. 2 on 2 times 7 plus 3m on 2 minus 2 equals 2 minus 2 times 2 on 2, because we are not changing the value, we're just adding or increasing the magnitude of that expression, that equation, but we are not changing the actual value of the equation. The next line, what we have got 7 times 2 is 14 on 2 plus 3m on 2 equals negative 4 on 2. And the next line, what we have then, we in mathematics we are allowed to get rid of the 2 because they belong, it's an equation, and also they are on both sides, right? So that's the very important. It's an equation, and also they are also on both sides, on the left and on the right. That's why we are allowed to do so. So we get rid of them, and then what do we have next? We have 14 plus 3m equals negative 4. And on the next line, what we do is, this is a simple algebra. Whatever, there are a few ways of doing that depending on how good you are. However, the basics way to do so is just minus 14 on both sides. Why minus 14 on both sides? Because we are trying to isolate m, right? So trying to isolate M means getting rid of everything else that does not involve the M. So that's why we are getting rid of our plus 14, because plus 14, to get rid of plus 14 is the same as taking away 14. So we subtract 14 on both sides, and when we do that, we end up with the equation that you can see. And if we move on, the next line, what we have is this: 3m equals negative 18. Right? Now we are trying to isolate or solve for m. So what we do next is get rid of the 3. How do we get rid of 3? Divide by 3 on both sides, right? So we divide by 3 on both sides, and then when you do that, this is what you get. You get m equals negative 6. I hope this question makes sense, right? And I'll be doing more, but then feel free to comment and or ask any question, or you could request any equation that you would want me to solve, and I will do so as soon as I can. If we move on to the next example before we can do other stuff with the next equation is this. So we go, this now is expanding. We have got a factor, right? I've got, it's not hard. Again, remember, linear equation, the highest power for the unknown values always have to be 1. If it's the power is greater than 1, that's not a linear equation. That might be a quadratic equation or trinomial equation, right? So there are a few ways that you could tell if an expression is a linear equation or not. But then the highest degree or the highest power has to be 1, or has to be 1. Right? Now, if we move on with this question, so the first thing that we do, we have to expand the brackets, right? We have to expand this expression to get rid of those brackets, so it could be easier for us to isolate h, because the target here, or the m here, is to isolate h. So what we do is we expand that. When we expand that, this is what you get. You get 5 times 2h plus 5 times 3 equals 4 times 3h plus 4 times 1. And if you move on, you get 10h plus 15 equals 12h plus 4, right? As I said earlier on, what we are trying here, the aim is to isolate h, right? So how do we do? What do? We get rid of everything else that does not involve the f on the left hand side, and you could do the same thing on the right hand side. It's up to you how you want to do it. However, I decide to do on the left, from the left hand side. Keep all the unknowns on the left hand side. So get rid of 15. If you get rid of that, so we have got 10h plus that, I get rid of the negative 12, so that on the right hand side I could end up with just a number that does not involve the h, because we are trying to isolate h on the left hand side, right? So when I read that, the next line, what you have negative 2 plus 15 equals negative 2h plus 15 equals 4, right? And then from here, what we can do is we are trying to isolate h, so we can get rid of 15 as well, and get 15 on both sides, subtract 15 on both sides. What you get 2h equal negative 11, right? 2h equals negative 11. And so now notice that we have got negative 2h equals negative 11. What does this mean? This means that the value of h has to be positive. Why? Because we know that a division of two negative numbers, the result has to be positive, right? Hope this makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense, I'll try to make another video for this one as well. If I move on, then we are trying to isolate h, or solve for h, then we divide by a negative 2 on both sides, and we don't divide just by 2 but by negative 2. So when you do that, you get h by itself over negative get h by itself over negative 11 over negative 2, and which is just positive 5.5, right? So the value of h is 5.5. Right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments, suggestion, please leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also share with your friends, and please subscribe to our channel so you could be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you so much.